Common response is to say Irenaeus wasn't speaking literally, that he was just speaking polemically or theologically or imprecisely or figuratively. Now, it is true that Irenaeus is speaking polemically against the Gnostic belief that Jesus preached for only 1 year and then died at the end of that year. It's also true Irenaeus sees theological implications of Jesus' age, believing Jesus passed through every age to sanctify every age. Of course, Irenaeus doesn't mean every single literal age in number of years, like 99 years old, and he's appealing to more general life stages, like that of infants, children, boys, youths, and old men. All of this is true. Dr. Matthew J. Thomas at the Dominican School of Philosophy and Theology threw my way a couple other possibilities to consider, namely, the Greek fragment we have of the passage indicates that the Greek word presbyteros underlies the Latin word of senior, seniorum in the Latin version. So it may refer to the status of a priest or elder rather than literal age. There may indeed be some grain of truth to this one, as I'll discuss more later. Another theory is Irenaeus might be applying the 46 years of age of the Jewish temple in John chapter 2 verse 20 to the temple of Jesus' body, which, following John's chronology, would have Jesus then at age 49 by the time he gets to the crucifixion. I find that theory to be quite a stretch. Ultimately, I think all these claims that Irenaeus is just speaking figuratively because of polemics or theology or imprecise language, I find these to be very weak excuses, generally. We've already seen how Irenaeus gets very specific in paragraph 6, giving specific ages like 30, 40, and 50 when interpreting John 8. So I find this defense to be very weak overall. Another possible defense is to appeal to potential mistranslation or potential manuscript errors. Irenaeus was born and raised in the East, speaking Greek, so Against Heresies was almost certainly written in Greek originally, which other early fathers or church writers seem to confirm by their own citations of Irenaeus' work in Greek. The most complete manuscripts of Against Heresies are in Latin, though. But we do possess Greek fragments in the writings of others and in actual manuscript artifacts, as pictured here, which are actual fragments from Against Heresies, Book 3, in Greek. The scholar Peter R. Rogers says it's not even impossible that Irenaeus wrote the fragment himself. But I find this particular response of mistranslation or manuscript errors to be quite weak and mere speculation. Is there any actual evidence, textual or otherwise, that there were mistranslations or manuscript transmission issues? And even if we did have solid evidence of that, how does this even help us? Appeal to such issues just seems like a nuclear option that casts a shadow of doubt on the reliability of the whole work. I think that there are better defenses of Irenaeus and apostolic tradition. Next response is to examine is, sure, Irenaeus believed Jesus was almost 50 years old, but he didn't believe it was an apostolic tradition. Now, It is true that Irenaeus' appeal to theology in paragraph 4 and his appeal to the Gospel of John, chapter 8, in paragraph 6, don't make any mention of apostolic tradition. But we already know that Irenaeus is quite dramatic and emphatic in paragraph 5 in appealing to apostolic tradition from the Apostle John and other apostles to John's elders, which I would assume may have included Polycarp, Irenaeus' own master and teacher. So again, this seems like a very weak way to try to excuse Irenaeus. Another potential response is to say, okay, so Irenaeus thought the age of Jesus was an apostolic tradition, but maybe he didn't believe or teach it to be a doctrine of the faith. Now, there is something about the age of Jesus at the time of his death that seems very trivial to modern Western people like us. What age Jesus was when he died seems like a mere fact or question of history, rather than a doctrine with any implications for salvation. But that doesn't seem to be the way Irenaeus thinks about it. He uses the fact to contradict heretics who thought Jesus preached for only 1 year. Moreover, we've already seen from the beginning the theological importance that Irenaeus gives to the possession of the age of a master and to Jesus saving men at all stages of life, including old men. So I don't see how one can say Irenaeus didn't believe or teach some doctrinal relevance to this particular question, at least in general. Lastly, I think we need to be careful about this and avoid saying history and historical facts don't matter. So Christianity is a historical religion. The Son of God really did enter history. And so we need to acknowledge the importance of accurate historical investigation relating to Jesus, even if we can't pinpoint precise dates or chronologies.